Welcome to Introduction to Christian Ethics, a full semester online course intended to provide you with fundamental concepts and tools used in mainline Protestant ethics. My name is Dr. Randall Miller, and for the next 15 or so weeks, I'll be your instructor for this course. In addition to serving as assistant professor in United Methodist Studies, Ethics, and Leadership from 2010 through 2015 at the Pacific School of Religion, I've spent the past 25 years working in a variety of nonprofit settings, including social justice advocacy, HIV/AIDS, denominational, and philanthropic organizations. I received my PhD in 2008 from the Graduate Theological Union, and my academic specialties are theories of justice, economic justice, critical theory, contextual theologies, and ethics and social policy. Before we begin our course walkthrough, just a word about the symbol so prominently displayed on the front page of the syllabus and at the top of the course Moodle page. The Sankofa bird originates in West Africa and encapsulates a way of thinking about the world and about the acquisition of knowledge and wisdom. Sankofa literally means looking backwards while walking forwards, and metaphorically suggests that as human beings, we only become wise when we can connect the wisdom of a living past to the needs and aspirations of the present. We need not live in the past, but we do well to remember that true wisdom emerges out of the lived experiences of those who have gone before us, as well as out of our present moment. For the past decade, as a professor of ethics, I've attempted to instill this same bit of wisdom in all of my students. Doing Christian ethics is not simply about what we might be thinking in the current moment. Instead, to do ethics well, we must draw on the rich storehouse of sacred text, spiritual beliefs and teachings, insights into the natural world, and the witness of those who have lived before us. In the current vernacular, we might boil down the crucial insight from Sankofa to read, "It's not all about me." Throughout the course, when you see the symbol of Sankofa, take a moment to step outside of yourself and the perspectives that you have brought with you to this course. Seek out the voices and teachings of those who have come before, and then return to your own moral perspective, hopefully enriched by what you've learned. Introduction to Christian Ethics, which is technically a branch of philosophy, is a basic requirement for the Master of Divinity degree in most Protestant seminaries. Like other introductory classes, it's designed to help you fulfill the course requirements that you'll need to graduate, but also to provide you with a broad overview of the field of Christian ethics. As a professor, I'm well aware that introductory and survey courses can be, well, a bit of a grind. And it's in fact true that we'll be covering lots of material at a very quick pace. However, my hope for you is that at some point during the semester, you'll find a few moments to pause, reflect on your sense of vocation, and consider the ways in which the study of ethics connects with the larger and longer quest for happiness and meaning that has been and will continue to be so central to the human experience. Even if you've just begun your graduate studies, you've probably already discovered that the ability to engage in critical analysis is one of the important skills that faculty are attempting to instill in you. Rest assured that you're not the first and certainly won't be the last student to be blown away by the use of the historical critical method in biblical studies, for example. Now, after 1, 2, 3, or even more years of learning to do critical analysis, it can begin to make you feel like the auto mechanic who has become very adept at taking cars apart, but somehow missed the section of the class that taught how to reassemble those cars. So here's what many seminaries and graduate schools of religion forget to tell you. We're hoping that you'll become just as good at putting cars back together as you are at disassembling them. As I've already said, doing critical analysis well is a very important skill, but so is engaging in the kind of reintegration that will allow you to express your thoughts and perspectives in a coherent and holistic manner. Now, this course is specifically designed to balance doing critical analysis and helping you fit the pieces back together in ways that are not only new, but that also feel authentic to who you are as a moral person. All too often, I've heard seminary students say that they'll leave most of what they've learned in theology school behind them when they graduate. I'm hoping to persuade you that there's a much better way to deal with the often overwhelming amount of knowledge and information that you'll receive while you're here in graduate school. Just maybe a better way to honor all of the time, energy, and sweat equity that you'll be putting into earning your degree is to attempt to integrate the most compelling and the most challenging parts of your theological education into a new, or better yet, a renewed theological and moral perspective, one that you'll be proud to carry with you when it's your time to graduate. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. This video presentation is intended to provide you with an overview of the structure and format of this Introduction to Christian Ethics course by highlighting important aspects of the course syllabus. If you think that you've already got a handle on this, please feel free to skip the rest of the video. But for everyone else, take just a few moments, pause this video, and download the latest course syllabus from Moodle if you haven't already done so. And then, when you're ready, simply push play and we'll continue with the course walkthrough. As hopefully you've already realized, this is an online asynchronous course. What this means in plain language is that you'll be working on your computer and mostly by yourself to achieve the learning outcomes of this class. Additionally, with the exception of the required course textbooks and perhaps a Bible, all of the other resources and tools that you'll need to complete this course can be found on the course Moodle page. Now, the great benefit of online asynchronous classes is that you have far more flexibility to determine when and how you complete your coursework than you would if you were required to sit in a brick and mortar classroom for up to 3 hours a week. The downside of online classes, however, is that you have to be more self-disciplined, more self-managing, and more self-motivated than if you were surrounded by teaching staff and other class participants who would subtly and not so subtly nudge you to keep up. Remember, it's up to you to ensure that you complete and submit all of your class assignments by the established due dates. Okay, So let's review the learning outcomes for this course. Learning outcomes are intended to specify what new knowledge and insights class participants are expected to have gained by the time this 15-week class is over. The chart in front of you matches each of the 6 learning outcomes of this course with a specific activity designed to assess whether that particular outcome has been achieved. As you can see, the weekly quizzes will be used to assess whether you can define basic terms and concepts used in Christian ethics. Similarly, the first reflection paper, consisting of your moral autobiography, will be used to determine whether you've gained additional insights into the factors that have shaped your own moral development. Your second reflection paper will be the basis for assessing your understanding and approach to the role of Scripture in ethics. The third reflection paper, which calls for you to conduct an interview and provide some analysis of the responses you've received, will be used to test whether you can contrast and compare 3 basic approaches to ethics. The Zoom colloquy sessions will provide an opportunity for assessing how well you can use and apply the 4 moral sources, that is, Scripture, reason, tradition, and experience, while doing Christian ethics. And finally, the fourth and last reflection paper, a written sermon or speech, will be used to measure whether you can formulate a coherent and persuasive moral argument. As I mentioned previously, this video is meant to provide you with an overview of the structure and format of this class. But by now, you may be feeling slightly overwhelmed by what you've already heard. Do not panic. I repeat, do not panic. Take a couple of deep breaths to steady yourself, and remember, you have an entire semester to get things done. You can do it. Just take it one step at a time. Rest assured that we've already covered the vast majority of course activities in previous slides. So at this point, I'll just remind you that in addition to the assignments that I've already described, each week there'll be pre-recorded lectures by yours truly and weekly readings to complete. The assigned readings are listed in the syllabus and can be found either in one of your required course textbooks or else posted on Moodle. I also want to draw your attention to the items that can be found at the very bottom of the list of weekly activities on Moodle. Labeled Going Further, these postings are a totally optional activity and provide what are hopefully fun opportunities to explore different issues in Christian ethics. There are 3 required course texts that you'll need to purchase or check out of the library. Robin Lovin's An Introduction to Christian Ethics, Goals, Duties, and Virtues will be our primary course text and is available in electronic or paperback forms. William Spahn's What Are They Saying About Scripture and Ethics reviews 5 major approaches to using Scripture and is available in paperback only. Finally, Thomas Porter's The Spirit and Art of Conflict Transformation, Creating a Culture of Just Peace, is available in paperback only and is meant to be a resource that you can use in the future to deal with the inevitable conflicts that arise over so-called hot-button moral issues. In addition to the required course texts, you'll find various other additional readings listed in the syllabus and posted on Moodle. At the end of each week, a short online quiz will be made available on Moodle. You'll have 52 hours to complete the quiz, starting at 12 noon Pacific Time on Friday and ending at 9 p.m. Pacific Time on Sunday night. All quizzes will be open book and open notes. This means that you're free to use course text, additional readings, study notes, or any other class materials while you're completing the quiz. Each quiz will have no more than 10 questions and will be a mixture of multiple choice, fill in the blank, true or false, etc. You'll also have 2 opportunities to pass each quiz by achieving a score of 70% or higher. If you don't pass the quiz the first time, you'll have an immediate opportunity to take the quiz again up until the Sunday night deadline. As the chart on the left side of this screen shows, your cumulative quiz grade will be determined by how many passing quizzes you complete. So you'll need to pass 13 quizzes to receive a cumulative grade of A for your quizzes, 11 to receive an overall grade of B, 10 to receive an overall quiz grade of C, and 8 to receive a D. If you're keeping up with the lectures and readings, each quiz should take no more than an hour or an hour and a half to complete. However, if you're fallen behind, or if you've not been able to keep up with class assignments, it will likely take you quite a bit longer. Let's talk now about the Zoom colloquy sessions. Zoom is an online platform similar to Skype or Google Hangout that allows participants to see and hear each other through a virtual connection. You'll need to be sure that the place that you log in from has a strong, consistent Wi-Fi signal in order to fully participate. If you look on the Moodle course site, you'll notice that I've already listed 3 different small group options, A, B, and C. You'll also see that each of these small groups already has 3 pre-scheduled meeting dates and times. Please take a couple of minutes to look at the scheduling options to determine which of the 3 groups is the best fit for your schedule. If at all possible, we'd like you to meet with the same group for the entire semester. However, we realize that in some cases, this will simply not be possible. Once you've determined the best meeting dates and times for your schedule, we strongly encourage you to add them to your calendar now. You can always make changes later, but it's very important that you attend all 3 colloquy sessions that are required. Also, if none of the pre-scheduled dates and times work for you, please let me know as soon as possible so that we can make other arrangements. Otherwise, about a week before the pre-scheduled colloquy sessions, you'll be asked to confirm which one you'll be attending. You'll also receive additional instructions at that time on how to access the Zoom meeting, as well as important information regarding what will be discussed during the colloquy session. We've already covered the topics for your 4 reflection papers, but once again, you'll be submitting a moral autobiography, a summary of your understanding and approach to Scripture, an interview with a non-family member about their understanding and conception of social justice, and a speech or sermon about a major ethical issue. Note that the due dates and specific guidelines for completing each of the 4 reflection papers can be found at the top of Moodle. Also, before you begin writing your first reflection paper, please remember to read the section on Moodle aptly entitled Writing a Reflection Paper. It contains some very helpful comments about the expected structure and format of your essay. Your final grade for this course will be determined as follows. The cumulative grade for the weekly quizzes will comprise 40% of your final course grade. Similarly, the overall grade for your 4 reflection papers will make up another 40%. Finally, the cumulative participation grade from the Zoom colloquy sessions will represent the the final 20% of the grade. Please also be aware that the grading rubrics, that is, the detailed guidelines explaining how various course assignments will be scored, are also posted on Moodle. I'm going to conclude this orientation video with some words of wisdom and hopefully helpful tips for how to do well in an online class. To be human is to procrastinate. And this is a very real temptation in an online class because your ogre of a professor won't be breathing down your neck and/or checking up on you while you're sitting through a 3-hour brick and mortar class. Resist the temptation to procrastination with all your might. The truth is that in an online class, you have to be more disciplined than you would be in a brick and mortar class. So watch yourself like a hawk to determine whether you've made the progress that you hope you're making in the class. Here are some other handy-dandy tips to help you over the hump. First, identify specific dates and times for viewing weekly lectures and doing other course assignments. Try and maintain an established routine for completing your coursework. Remember that old adage, out of sight is out of mind. 2, find a study buddy or form a study group. Though every student is required to complete their own assignments, working with a buddy or joining a study group can be a very effective way of covering lots of reading material very quickly. Just be sure that the other members of your group are people that you trust to actively and accurately contribute to the study process. 4, complete your work on time. Actually, this is probably 3. Complete your work on time. Allowing your class assignments to pile up is a recipe for disaster in an online course. Remember that for MDiv students, getting a passing grade for Introduction to Christian Ethics is a must to graduate. Finally, 4, be proactive in communicating with your instructor. As a graduate student, you're expected to meet higher course expectations than may have been true in other educational settings, particularly college. So if you're experiencing difficulties, have questions, or even if you want to explore course issues in more depth, take responsibility for initiating a conversation with your professor. Woo! This has been a lot, but that's it for now. Again, welcome to Christian Ethics, and don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. Remember, I'm only an email, phone call, or Zoom appointment away. Good luck, and take care.